Were there any particular high points in the experience? Heard that you were really interested in doing a one long fight sequence at some point, and it's almost like you willed that into existence with one of the issues.
I was just thinking to myself, like, you know, it'd be cool to do initially this one long fight sequence. And I went and had a shower, and I came out and I saw an email from Warren, and he said, "What do you think of an idea of just a whole issue fight sequence?" I'm like, what is happening? Some weird synchronicity there. But, you know, we had talked a lot about, like, no, actually, that's not true. We didn't talk much. He's very kind of, not hard to get onto, but, you know, very kind of curty, not curt, that makes it sound like it's, if you're a needy person, you probably shouldn't work with him, because, like, you send a whole issue and you say, "Good job." You know, as a writer now, I make sure I, like, point out stuff, because I know all artists are, like, such needy, like, desperate for positive affirmation. So, you know, I know that. But Warren would be very just kind of, like, matter of fact. So I had to really kind of measure my expectations there. But there was some stuff mentioned earlier, and we had mentioned certain kind of, like, action movies and stuff. Because he's a great action writer, and he has lots of weird tastes. So we had mentioned a couple of films that we knew in common, so I think that's probably where it came from. But then the idea of him doing the whole fight sequence, again, it's just such a cool, bold idea, and never working with him would you feel like you have to kind of, like, take a step back and be a bit like, let's not go too crazy. It was always what is the most interesting thing to do, and, like, especially with cover design too. I mean, my friends make fun of me. They're like, "Oh yeah, that cover everybody likes. It is just eyes, like, and the logo. That's it. Like, it took me, like, a couple of hours, you know, but yet it's probably the most impactful cover I've ever done." So there's all that. It was all the freedom to just kind of do weird, like, working with Warren gave me the safe zone to try weird things, because if Marvel pushed back, he would, like, make a big deal. Not that they ever came to that or anything, but knowing that I could just kind of do whatever. Actually, remember when I did the design for the Bone costume? Joey wears the skull, and it's like a kind of like Egyptian-inspired bone costume. I sent my first design, and he just wrote back. He's like, excuse my language, "giant fucking bird skull" in massive letters. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, he just wanted me to keep it was never, yeah, which was amazing, because that's not really what you expect from, like, commercial comics, you know.
Yeah. So as a self-described, self-flatulating Irishman, when you are working with something like an IP with Marvel, and then there's this whole additional sort of, like, Disney aspect to it now, how do you get through with that additional pressure of knowing that there's so many sort of, like, big industry leaders involved?
I mean, you know, Moon Knight happened in 2013, 14. You know, unfortunately, it's a long time ago now, and I don't know now, to be honest. I think there is a tension between creative and commercial, and there always will be, and there always should be. And I think artists should be able to do whatever the hell they want, but I also know that artists are crazy, and sometimes you do need to push back a little bit, you know. And I actually find, from a creative standpoint, getting pushed back actually forces you to come up with better ideas, different ideas, things you wouldn't have thought of. And I don't know what, I don't get the feeling there's a lot of it at the moment. Like, everything kind of feels a bit safe, personally. Like what we did with Moon Knight, there was a really great kind of initiative at the time at Marvel. That was with the Charles Soules and Javier Pulido's She-Hulk book. The and Fraction Hawkeye book, the Jane Foster Thor storyline. Like, there was a lot of, like, creators taking big swings on corporate stuff at the time, and it didn't all work, but a lot of it was fantastic. And I don't think I've seen a big push like that in a while. Actually, probably DC now. Like, I would say, I would say like DC would be the kind of more straight-laced at the time, and Marvel were the kind of cool kids. it seems to have come around the other way.
Slipped a little bit.
I'm not saying that as to be a jerk or anything. I just, from my point of view, it seems to be where the creative zeitgeist seems to have shifted. I'm sure it'll shift back. Like that's the great thing about having two big companies competing with each other. The other will force the other one to do something. I think that's healthy, you know. So I don't really have an answer for you, unless you're somebody with massive cachet who can like what Warren did at the time. Say, I don't think there's a lot of people like that in the industry. I've done quite well, but I wouldn't. Like, but do with Thundercats, actually. Sorry, to be fair. And we actually, okay, I'm going to completely undercut everything I just said. We had total freedom. There has been no problems. 2 notes, maybe. I guess it's with all my friends, whenever I ask a question, they always hate this answer, but the answer is it depends.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a yes or no. I think it depends where you are, where you are in your career. Do you have enough leverage to push for the things that you want? Is it better to just go along with things for a while? You know, like my career at Marvel up till Moon Knight was just, I was a very good Catholic schoolboy. I wanted to get somebody to tell me I'm doing a good job, so I could feel good about myself. And what changed was pushing for what you want. You'll never get what you want if you just kind of sit around hoping it'll happen. And that's a lesson I learned around the Moon Knight time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything else you took away from that experience that sort of changed you or evolved you as an artist?
Well, I mean, hugely, I think Warren was trying to kill me. Like every issue of that was so hard, but not like difficult in a way that I didn't like. It was hugely challenging, and the thing that happens is if you're an artist on a book, you'll make progress issue to issue. And then when you change a project, you kind of level up a bit because it's a new project, it's a new thing, it's a new kind of exciting thing. And then, so like, I think my work on Thunderbolts was good, but Venom was an improvement and Deadpool was an improvement. But what Warren did with Moon Knight is every issue was like a whole new thing. The first issue was like a kind of a detective thing. The second thing was like a sniper thing. The third one was the dream with the mushrooms in his brain. I should know this. The ghost pumps.
Yeah,
that was
like,
issue 3.
I don't know the exact issue, but I know the order was not the mushrooms.
Yeah, the ghost punks was issue 3. The issue 4 was the mushrooms. Issue 5 was the big fight thing, and issue 6 was the Black Spectre. But like those felt like completely different projects, and just Moon Knight shows up, you know. So every issue was a complete new challenge. So I leveled up 6 times in the space of maybe what another project would have been 1. And every time, like those mushrooms, man, boy, it took a long time because I did ink washes on all of them and they just took forever. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? But I also, like I said, was so primed. I'm like, this is the time for me to just to really show what I can do as a storyteller. And Warren I feel like he made a project portfolio. He made every issue a portfolio for me, so that everybody, readers and editors and everyone in the industry, could just see how good I could be. So it was torturous in just how hard it was, but like I wouldn't change it for anything. It was like how creatively rewarding it was insane, and also proof I could believe in myself. Those were my ideas on the page, and everyone really liked them. And sorry, Warren's of course too. Like a lot of the genius stuff was Warren's, but like the stuff I wanted to do, I put in there, and everyone loved it, and that was hugely rewarding because so much of everything else you were doing is like playing it safe. You know? So that was, I came out of that book a different artist as regards what people could see I could do and what I knew I could do myself. And I think it gave me a bit of a swagger I didn't have before, and that's paid off too, you know.
That's fantastic. So y'all, we do have a Q&A mic right in the center of the room. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to walk up to that mic, and I'll just keep an eye on that mic. Writing as well, because you've been doing quite a bit. You did Bog Bodies and Savage Town to start. No, get back. Okay. Get on up there. I'm just distracting. So
Stand on one foot, like we'll torture you. Like.
You're amazing. We adore you. So can you talk a bit about that before we go into our first audience question?
Talk about writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I didn't grow up wanting to write. I wanted to draw. But say Warren, working with Warren on Moon Knight, of course, was huge, and then we did Injection after that. And I learned so much just reading his scripts, but like he was able to go do like other stuff and like work in animation. And Jordi Belair, who colored the book, she was working on all these other amazing stuff. And I was like, this is my one. I love this thing, but it's as an artist, you really just have one thing. Colorists have a wide variety of opportunities and different projects. As an artist, it's like this is the one thing I'm going to do for how many years? Mm-hmm. So you have to be kind of very mindful of what you're going to be working on. But I love superhero comics. I love all the mainstream stuff, but I'm a big indie kind of guy too. And having worked in American comics for years, I wanted to do something creative that just kind of showcased my Irish background. It was more a case I just wanted to make a book, and that was Savage Town with an artist whose work I really liked, Philip Barrett. So it wasn't a case of like, I wanna move into writing. I just wanted to make that book, and then in the making of that, I realized writing is like, it's easy as hell. It's so easy. Compared to drawing, it's so easy. Yeah. It's very difficult, don't get me wrong, it's very difficult in many ways, but like, it's not as physically punishing as drawing, and it doesn't take as long. But I got the bug for it, and Bog Bodies was a follow-up. And then that opened opportunities at Marvel. I got to write a Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, like a Nick Fury serial, and then people wanted me to write and draw. So like, and from a purely cynical point of view, being a writer gives you far more control over what you draw. If like I'm not working with Warren and Marvel could just put you with some guy you don't know or you don't like their stuff, I don't have to do that now. I could just do. Like I can't say what it is, but I just worked with Kieran Gillen on a short story, and that's class. I've known Kieran for years, great writer. I can choose to do that, but I don't have to do. If that was a gig where I didn't like the writer, I didn't like the character, I don't have to take it. That's the thing with artists, you generally have to take what's. It's like, why are they doing that? It's like, well, they were offered it and they need to pay the bills, so that's probably why they're doing it. I'm in a very wonderful position where I don't have to do anything I'm not interested in. And writing gave me a lot more of that power, and also the experience of like coming up with an idea and developing it and visually working it out and working out the storytelling and drawing and then coloring. Like I've colored my own work too, so I feel like I leveled up afterwards. But as much as I like writing and drawing for myself, but I'm a big fan of artists. I love artists, and I've tried my best to, through writing opportunities, find new artists to give them like their first opportunities and do what Warren did for me, basically.
That's fantastic. All right, we've got our first question. Hello, what is your name? Where are you from? And what's your question?
Hi, my name is Jaden. I'm from...
Keep talking, I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit.
I'm from Fort Lauderdale. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase my question. What do you think is the most important skill for like illustrating comics as a career? Aside from just like illustration.
Well, yeah. What are the most important skills? Is that your question? Sorry, what was your question again? I want to make sure I'm answering it properly.
What do you think is the most important skill for like having a career in like comics illustrating?
It's going to sound weird, but mental aptitude. Drawings, there's lots of stuff, practical advice you can get, and it's all good. But I think something I've thought more about these days is if you're artistic, you're probably a little mental. I include myself in that. Most creatives I know are incredibly insecure, or like you see some people in comics get very famous very fast and then they turn into total nutcases because like if you're in comics, you're probably very introverted, and then all of a sudden you've got this kind of public-faced job where people are treating you a certain way and it can mess with you. I think you have to have a good head on your shoulders. But in more practical sense, if you want to be an artist, you're on your own every day. I've lost friendships over the years, you know, birthdays, family events and stuff, and like, you have to know, I am comfortable in my own company. I think you kind of need to be like that. You need to be okay in yourself. And I don't mean like you have to be crazy confident all the time, but like it's an isolating job, and it takes so much of your time. And you know, I'm not trying to make out like it's a horrible thing, but I just want people to really think about that side of it. Like because you're getting to do your dreams, like you're getting to do Spider-Man or Wolverine, and this is what you want, and you'll do everything you can do to make it work. But like, if you want to have a career, you need to be able to like have longevity. And if you lose your mind after a year, because everyone can draw a comic in a month, can you draw another comic in another month, and another comic another month, and another comic another month? Like, it's very, very hard. And like, say an issue of Moon Knight, I finished one, I was like, oh, I'm wrecked. Got to start the next one. You know, I can't take 3 weeks off. You know, you've got to be able to like muster your own enthusiasm, self-critical voices, like knowing when to listen to them and when not to listen to them. Because if you listen to them all the time, you cripple yourself. If you never listen to them, you do terrible work. So I know it's a kind of a weird answer, but I think nobody really talks about that, is like being able to kind of balance yourself if you want to have a long career where you are really engaging with the work and your own stuff. But be prepared for how isolating it can be. If you're someone who needs to be around people all the time, it'll be a very hard job for you. But if you're okay and you're happy out just in your room drawing, it's great. But you just don't think in the long term with this stuff, because what the chances of it actually happening are so slim. Then when it happens, you're like, this is amazing. But no, you think of your favorite artists, like, and some of them just kind of disappear, or you don't know what they're doing, because they probably, not in all cases, but like, it's not really the company's having a nefarious thing. It's someone who just couldn't like hack it anymore, or just got burnt out. Burnout is a huge problem, and you can't just come back from burnout. So you need to try and make sure that you're not burning out physically, mentally. I think I'm sorry if that's a crazy, vague answer to your question.
It's pretty realistic.
If there's something more practical, I would just say that just make things. You know, if you want to be seen, if you want a job in this kind of career, like if you're a plumber, someone has to have seen that you can do the job. For some reason in comics, everyone thinks that like you just get the job, but like, no, you need to actually show somebody. No one is going to like think, hey, you got talent, and I think you could go far, because these editors have, you know, schedules, and a lot of this stuff is very like, who's available right now. Sometimes it's not even about who's good enough. It's like, this book is going to print in a week. This artist is late. We need a new person, you know. But if I haven't seen what you've done, I can't gauge who you are or what your voice is. I think that's what I'm answering. I'm answering 5 different ways. I think consider your voice as a writer or an artist or whatever. I think that's what's important. You can always get better at drawing and study storytelling, but I think, you know, if you want to do storytelling, you have a story to tell in whatever way it is, and I think that's what people are looking for. It might be how you draw that's completely unique to you, or it might be your point of view, but unless I know what your voice is on something, I don't know what, you know, would she be a great fit for like Captain America, you know? But like I saw this book you did, it's all about, I don't know, military or World War II history or something. And thought, oh, cool, they know a lot about World War II history. Maybe they'd be a good fit for Captain America. That type of thing, you know. You need to be able to show people what you can do, and not just that you can do the job, but like have your own identity in the work that you do. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.